guys, this is my review for night 1 of WrestleMania 38. So, I enjoyed this show. I did. I enjoyed the Austin match, which was actually a match. I enjoyed that, and I enjoyed the top 3 matches. I feel like they delivered. They really delivered. And overall, I enjoyed the show. But I have a problem with the constant video packages, and it's not even like the video packages for the matches on tonight's card. They have video packages for matches on tomorrow's card, which they'll probably play again on tomorrow's card. So this show, there's 4 hours, and they could have cut at least an hour of it, like the video packages and a match or 2, which I'll get to, but overall, I enjoyed night 1. So, this is my review. I'm going to go down each match on the card, give you my thoughts and opinions. So, we're going to start with the first match, the SmackDown Tag Team title match, the Usos versus Nakamura and Rick Boots. I did that without laughing. So, I thought this was a decent opener. You know, Nakamura's entrance really hyped the crowd up. You know, his theme song, you had Rick playing the guitar, and Pat McAfee. I'm going to talk about him for a second. Pat McAfee is great. He's a gem. He was great during the Nakamura's entrance, and I wish they showed him a little more dancing on the table, but he's great during the entrance. He's great on commentary the whole night, and I hope Pat sticks around for a couple of years. But back to the match. This was a decent match. I think it was a good opener to start the show that they worked on Nakamura for a little bit. The match didn't go long. I think it got like maybe 7 minutes. So they worked on Nakamura. Rick Boots made the hot tag. He hit, you know, a couple of suplexes, I believe. And then he picked up Jimmy on his shoulders. And then Jay got on his shoulders. So Rick Boots had both Usos on his shoulders. And I think this was planned, but because I think it was planned for the Usos to be too much for Rick to carry, and Rick was supposed to fall back. Problem was, the way he fell on his leg looked kind of awkward, and he injured his knee. And people on Twitter saying that this is a worked injury. I don't know. It could be, but the way he fell, it didn't look right to me. It really looked like his leg got hurt. So Rick Boots had the Usos on his back. It was too much. His leg gave out, because I know that was the story they were telling on SmackDown. That's how they got this match. They injured his leg, and then he tricked them into the match with, I think, Jimmy Uso. And Jimmy gave him a match, and they got the tag team match at Mania. So it could be a worked injury. It could not. I don't know. So again, for the 3rd time, Rick Boots fell. He tagged in Nakamura, rolled to the outside. Trainers worked on him. The Usos, Nakamura got offensing, but the Usos, they super kicked, they did the dive, the Usos dive, and finally they hit the Griddy or the Lundy for the win. So the Usos retained their tag team titles. Again, decent match, decent opener. I would have kept this on the card. Decent opener. Next, we had Drew McIntyre versus Baron Corbin. Happy Corbin. This, I didn't pay too much attention to this match. This was a SmackDown match, really, and they could have saved time and cut this match. I believe this match went like 7 minutes too, but they could have cut this. Corbin worked on Drew. Drew made a comeback. He had his signature stuff. That was cool. I liked about this. Happy Corbin and what's his name? Madcap Moss was on the outside. I just had a coughing fit. But Drew hit a dive on Corbin and Madcap to the outside. That looked pretty cool. They made it back into the ring. Corbin hit the end of days, which that looked pretty cool. But Drew came back, hit a future shock, and the Claymore for the win. After the match, Corbin went to the back. Madcap was on the apron. So Drew grabbed the sword and chopped the ropes. Madcap jumped out of the way, but he chopped the ropes and the ring, the ropes fell off the ring and they cut to a video package. Decent match. I didn't think, if anything, this should have been on a pre-show. They could have cut this off of the main card. Like I said, this could have been a 3-hour show, but they stretched it to 4 hours. Next match was The Miz and Logan Paul versus the Mysterios, Ray and Dominic. They had Jake Paul on the pre-show. He, was on the pre-show panelists. He was talking shit, healing it up to the crowd, the people standing outside, and, he was hyping up the match. He was doing Jake Paul things. I don't know, there's something in my throat. I'm not sick. There's just like this little tickle in my throat. I don't know, maybe from the raviolis I ate, but I just drank some water. Like I was saying, this match, again, another decent match. I didn't care too much about this match. They just had this to get Logan Paul on the show, and he'll be coming back with the latest ending, and we'll get to that. But, Dominic hit a spiral moonsault or dive from the turnbuckle to the outside. That was pretty cool. They worked on Dominic for a little while. Ray made a hot tag, hit his signature stuff. He hit a moonsault from the top rope. That looked great. And I think I saw a Solid Monster tweet this, that Ray is, what is he, almost 50 or 50? And he's still flying around the ring like he's still in his 20s. Ray just looks amazing. He doesn't age. So he had a top rope moonsault. It looked good. Logan Paul, he hit the Three Amigos, and he actually hit a frog splash. I give him credit for that, because it actually looked pretty good. Other than that, he didn't really do much in this match. I think he hit some chops. He was punching Dominic in the corner. he might have done a suplex on Dominic, but his highlight was the Three Amigos and the Frog Splash. So, later on in the match, the Mysterios hit a double 619, I believe, on Logan Paul, but before they were going to go, they were running towards the ropes, the Miz tagged himself in. So, the Mysterios hit the 619 on Paul, and the Miz comes in from the other side of the ring, throws, I believe it was Ray, outside, and hits the skull-crushing finale on, I think it was Dominic, for the win. So, the Miz and Logan Paul pick up the win, and after the match, Miz and Paul are raising their hands, and the Miz hits a skull-crushing finale on Logan Paul. So, he'll be back. He has to get his revenge. Yeah. Like I said, I didn't care too much about this match. This was whatever. And yeah, that's really all I gotta say. If you enjoyed it, you enjoyed it. I didn't care for it. Stephanie McMahon came out. She thanked the crowd, and she brought out Gable Stevenson. He was on the stage. He was, hyping up the crowd, posing to the crowd, and he went to the back. I wouldn't be surprised if he'll be on Raw tomorrow night. So, that's that. And here's where tonight got better. Much better. At this point, it was like 9:45, and I was done. Because at this point, we saw 3 matches that were decent. I didn't care about 2 of them, and a lot of video packages. So, I was tired by this point. But next we had the Raw Women's title, Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair. Becky came out in this, I think it was old school, not old school, but I forgot what kind of car it was. But it was a nice looking car. And then Bianca came out with like a drumline kind of entrance. They had, drumming and dancing, and they said on commentary, it makes sense. Bianca had to be the best, so she had to outdo Becky. And Becky had her short hair, new look, because Bianca cut her hair on SmackDown, but Becky looked great. I liked the short hair. She had the eyeshadow. It was like pink eyeshadow. She looked great. I don't know what character she was going for. It might be maybe a Mortal Kombat character, but she looked great. And Bianca looked great too. So, this was a pretty good match. This was really good. They started off hot. They did a SummerSlam finish. Bianca extended her hand. Becky shook it. She went for the rock bottom, and Bianca kicked out. And from this point on, they were just, reversing each other's moves, giving each other, each other's moves, not giving each other's moves, but they knew each other. It was a brawl, and it worked really good in this match. I think it was Becky that hit an outside suplex, or was it Bianca? I didn't write down who hit the outside suplex, but Bianca hit a 450 splash for, I believe for a 2 count, which looked great. So, they, again, battled back and forth, reversing each other's moves. Becky went up for a Maui go round, but I don't know if she didn't jump long enough, but she didn't extend at all. Becky, her foot hit Bianca right in the face, and by the end of the match, you could see Bianca's face was getting all, puffed up. So, she botched the Molly go round, but what are you gonna do? They went to the outside, Becky hit the rock bottom, or the manhandle slam on the steps. Put her back into the ring. She was doing everything she could. Becky, she was frustrated. She didn't know what to do. She went to the top. Bianca fought her down, and Bianca caught her in the KOD. I think she was coming off the ropes. Bianca caught her into the KOD and pinned her to become your new Raw Women's Champion. So, this was an excellent match. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed, the back and forth, and I'm glad Bianca got her payback from SummerSlam. And this story, this almost a year-long story, paid off for Bianca. Next, we got Seth Rollins versus a mystery opponent. So, Seth Rollins comes out. He's in this blue and black kind of knit attire. You can see through it a little bit. He's dancing around the ring, being Seth. And he's saying, bring him out. Where's my opponent? Let's go. My time. Bring him out. They made us wait for a little while. Then the lights went out and Cody Rhodes' music hits. The AEW music. Wrestling has one something family. I don't know the lyrics, but once you heard that, the crowd popped. I think he came up from the stage. They had his Nightmare Skull queued up in the 3D. The 3D, the shit that they put on screen for the people at home. They put that shit on screen. And I was like, oh, Vince loves his tattoo. He has to. So, he comes out, they call him the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and it's Cody Rhodes. It wasn't Shane McMahon that tried to swerve us, it was Cody. And this was an excellent match. This was probably match of the night. It was either this or Becky and Bianca. But I think this, for me, was match of the night. This was really good. It started off a little slow. Cody Rhodes hit his, he did a cartwheel. He did the Stardust pose. And I think it was it Corey that had a good line that this was him putting the past in the past, meaning the Stardust gimmick in the past. So that was great. Cody had his signature moves that he does. He worked on Seth Rollins' shoulder. Then Cody went for a little bit in this match. Cody Rhodes kind of botched a moonsault. He went up for a moonsault, and he didn't really get all of it. He landed on, I think he landed on Seth's face, and they turned it into, I think, a roll-up pin. So they saved it, but he kind of botched it a little bit. Seth Rollins went for the stomp. Cody Rhodes turned it into a crossroads for a 2 count. I kind of had a problem with this because in AEW, the crossroads was protected. Nobody really kicked out of it. And for a while, nobody did. Until, I forgot who was the first person, but they protected the crossroads, they protected the pedigree. So I had a problem with Seth kicking out of the crossroads. But, after this, the match just went from here all the way to up here. They were going at it. Seth Rollins hit, his Falcon arrows. He went on top. He hit a reverse suplex on Cody Rhodes from the top rope. A reverse superplex. That looked great. He hit that. They were reversing pedigree spots. And I think at one point, Seth Rollins hit the pedigree. And I think Cody kicked out of it. Cody Rhodes went for the pedigree, but then he turned it into a flipping powerbomb. Or a tiger driver, kinda. So, the match ended with Cody Rhodes hit 2 crossroads. Then he picked Seth up, hit the bionic elbow, his dad's bionic elbow. And then he hit a 3rd crossroads for the win. So, great match. Probably match of the night. And we'll see what they do from here on now. From here on out. We'll see what they do. Let's see if, they put him in a couple of main events or high, quality matches for a couple months, and then he's right back to doing nothing. But I thought this was good. I like what they did here. Great re-debut for Cody Rhodes. They did the Hall of Fame thing next. They brought everybody out on the stage, which they'll probably do tomorrow. They had The Undertaker come out last to his music. He walked slowly, across the stage and getting up backstage. They announced the people, the attendance. They announced it at 77,899. And I said this on Twitter. They really couldn't go up. They couldn't round up by 1 to make it 77,900. They really had to say 899. Really? So, after all that, we had the SmackDown Women's Champion. And this went exactly how I expected. It was a good match. Charlotte is in there. She's not going to have a bad match at WrestleMania. And Ronda, I said this to Griddy. Ronda is good at, following along. So she wasn't gonna go into this match and suck. The match was a little, sloppy, a little off, but overall, I think Ronda did good, and Charlotte, she carried this match good. And it was a good match. It went exactly how I thought. They brawled. Ronda tried to hit Charlotte with submission moves at every corner, and Ronda just, did I say that wrong? Ronda tried to hit Charlotte. No, Charlotte tried to hit Ronda with submission moves, and Ronda tried to, fight her way out of it. Think I explained that right. And I wrote, cause there's a fight. One spot I didn't like, Charlotte did I think it was like a backdrop to Ronda on the apron, outside on the apron, which is supposed to be the hardest part of the ring. And Ronda basically no-sold it. She rolled back into the ring and just, got up. So she no-sold that. Another thing, Charlotte went up for the Andrade moonsault. Then, she comes off the moonsault, lands on her feet, and delivers another moonsault. Ronda wasn't on point for the second moonsault, and the commentators tried to play it off like she moved at the last second, but to me, it looked sloppy. It looked sloppy. One thing I liked, Charlotte went for an exploder suplex, and Ronda reversed it into her own exploder. That was probably maybe the coolest spot in the whole match to me. Ronda hit a top rope arm drag into her Piper's Pit, back slam, and then she put the ankle lock on Charlotte. Charlotte kicked out, they go outside, and Charlotte hits an exploder suplex into the barricade. That was a cool spot. So, they get back into the ring. Ronda hits the Piper's Pit again. The ref is counting, and he counts 3, but calls it off because Charlotte's foot was on the rope. So the ref called it off. And I said this on Twitter. The minute I saw Little Nick refereeing the match, I knew Charlotte was gonna win. So Charlotte got her foot on the rope. The ref called it off. Ronda argued with the ref. Charlotte went for a spear, and Ronda sidesteps it. Charlotte speared the referee. So she spears the referee. Ronda puts Charlotte in the arm lock. I couldn't think of the name. And Charlotte's tapping out, but there's no referee. So Ronda breaks the hold, gets up, picks up the referee. She's like, come on. And then, this was odd, Charlotte hits a big boot for the 3 count and retains. I got no problem with Charlotte retaining. I predicted it in my predictions. But the end to this match, I didn't like it. A big boot gets the 3 count. I wasn't a fan of that. But, again, it was a good match. I thought they delivered. I thought Charlotte, carried the match, did the best she could. It was a little sloppy, but overall, I thought Ronda, she did good. So, she did good. Now, we have, before we get to that, the New Day. I didn't predict this match because they announced it on SmackDown. It was supposed to be Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods versus Sheamus and Rich Holland with Butch on the outside. It was supposed to be a 6-man tag, but Big E broke his neck. So they made it a 2-on-2 tag match for WrestleMania. It got cut due to time constraints, and I'm glad it got cut. But I would put this on the pre-show tomorrow. I wouldn't cut this from the whole show entirely. I wouldn't put this on the main card tomorrow, but I would put this on the pre-show. Give the New Day and, Sheamus and Rich their WrestleMania match. Just put it on the pre-show. And also, they announced WrestleMania 39 next year is April 2nd in LA. So, WrestleMania is going back Hollywood. So, they announced that. I had to cut again. I felt the tickle in my throat and I cleared my nose. So, next and last, we got the main event for tonight, the Kevin Owens show with Stone Cold Steve Austin. So, Kevin Owens comes out, he was on the crowd, he says, I meant everything I said, Texas is trash. He said, if the U.S. was a person, Texas would be the ass. So, he was on the crowd, he calls Austin a bad role model. He said, I looked up to Austin as a kid, but he's a bad role model, and he's no good, just like you guys. So, he kept talking, Austin's music hits, crowd goes nuts, Austin comes out, he goes to one side of the stage, raises his hands, he goes to the other side, raises his hands, and then he goes to walk down the aisle, and he stops, turns around, go backstage, and I already knew what's coming. He comes back out on the four-wheeler with, I think he had a cooler of beer on the back. So he comes out with the four-wheeler, he does 3 laps around the ring, and Austin, he can really drive this four-wheeler because the distance from the ring to the barricade, it wasn't that wide. And Austin made those cuts like a pro. So that was pretty good. So Austin comes out, he hypes up the crowd, he calls Kevin Owens stupid. No, and before this, I'm sorry, Austin comes in, he ruins the set, he goes up to the 4 corners to raise his hands, and KO cuts him off on corner number 3. He says, this is my show, I'm gonna cut you off because it's my show. Then he runs down Texas a little bit. Stone Cold finally talks. I thought this went a little bit too long. Stone Cold finally talks. He calls Kevin Owens stupid, and then Kevin Owens gets back on the mic and says, I tricked you, Steve. I didn't call you here to have a conversation. I called you here for a fight, and I'm challenging you to a match, a no-holds-barred match. So, Austin gets back on the mic. He asks the crowd if they want to see Stone Cold have a match. Give him a hell yeah. And the crowd goes nuts. He asks him again. They go nuts. And he says, all right, get me a ref. My nose is really stuffy right now. I'm trying to get through this. So Austin asks for a ref. The match starts. The bell rings. And at this point, I'm like, wow, they're really doing this. They're having Austin's first match in 19 years. And probably his last. So, the bell rings, they trade blows. Steve gets Owens in the corner, stomps a mud hole. They brawl outside. Steve goes to whip KO into the barricade, but KO reverses it, and Steve goes into the barricade. Now, when he went into the barricade, he came off and gave Kevin Owens a clothesline, and KO sold the shit out of this clothesline. So, they brawled some more. They brawled into the crowd. Stone Cold went to suplex Kevin Owens. And I'm like, nah, they're not going to do this. Yeah, instead of Stone Cold suplexing KO, KO suplexed Stone Cold. And I'm like, damn, Austin took a bump. But he took a bump on the outside. I'm like, okay, all right, Austin. So they brought back to the ringside. Austin throws KO from the barricade onto the announce table. He drinks beer. Austin, he drinks beer, throws beer on KO. He's, punching him on the announce table. KO gets up. He throws Austin into the ring post, and Austin goes down. I thought, because they cut away, I thought Austin was gonna come up bloody. He was gonna bleed, but he didn't. So he throws him into the post. KO runs, he goes to run away. He gets on Austin's four-wheeler, and he sits on the bike, and he acts like he don't know how to turn it on. So Austin gets up eventually. Eventually, my nose is stuffed. So Austin gets back eventually, gets on the four-wheeler, and drives the bike up the ramp with KO on the front. Alright, come on, nose. I'm almost through this unstuff for a couple more minutes. So, like I was saying, they get on the bike, Austin drives it up the stage, they brawl, and Austin hits a suplex on KO. Another suplex. Austin is bumping around. So he picks KO up, he's throwing him down the ramp. KO is rolling down the ramp. Austin looks behind him and they get into the ring. So they get into the ring and KO hits Austin with a stunner for a 2 count. And then KO goes outside, grabs a chair, goes back in the ring. He goes to hit Austin with a chair. Austin ducks because he's by the ropes. KO, the chair ricochets off the rope, hits KO in the face. Austin stunners him for the 3, and Austin wins his first match in 19 years. I thought this was fun. As an Austin fan, this was great. It was great to see him out there taking suplexes, and it was great. He did more than I thought he was going to do, and they over-delivered. After the match, he drank beer with the crowd. He got on the mic. I forgot what he said, but he drank more beer. He called Byron Saxton into the ring, and he gives Byron a beer. He cracks the beer with Byron, and he gives him a stunner. So Austin drinks more beer. He calls his brother, they said, into the ring, drink beer with his brother as the show went off the air. And like I said, I enjoyed the show. I thought this segment was fun, and the top 3 matches delivered. Again, what I didn't like about the show was the first 3 matches, I didn't care for them, and the constant video packages about tomorrow that guarantee they'll play again tomorrow. So, I enjoyed the show. I thought it went an hour too long, but I enjoyed it. Now for night 2, we got Bobby Lashley versus Omos. We got the Raw Tag Team titles in a triple threat team match. RK Bro defends against the Street Profits versus Alpha Academy. We got Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville, which I believe is a no holds barred or a street fight. I think one of them. We got Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory. We got the Women's Tag Team title, Fatal 4-Way. Zelina and Carmella versus Naomi and Sasha versus Shayna and Natty versus Rhea and Liv. We got Edge and AJ Styles, and then the main event, winner takes all, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. So, that's the card for tomorrow. This was the review for night 1. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the show, what you liked, what you didn't. If you didn't watch it, let me know. Let me know what you thought of my review. If you agree with me, if you didn't, let me know. Also, join me back here again for my night 2 review. God damn it, I can't finish this video. Between my nose and my shit in my throat, whatever it is, I can't finish. But leave a like if you like the review. Subscribe if you're new. Turn on your post notifications so you know when I upload. Have a nice day, guys. Peace.